Hey guys, John Hope, M365 solution architect with a company called Enforcer, and I am here to try and help demystify some of what is happening right now. I get the pleasure of talking to MSPs day in and day out around M365 solution architecture, and one thing is ever so apparent. One is that there is common just misconceptions on what is happening in the industry right now. And two, that people are not as familiar with passkeys as I thought they were. They've heard the word enough. Microsoft's been prepping us for months now, right? They made it the default method. They've emphasized that it's going to become the new standard default method for authentication as a whole. But yeah, I guess why should you care? Who am I, right? One of the things that I love is identity, and I am a Microsoft MVP in security with a focus on identity. And one of the things that I did before I did end up leaving the MSP where I've worked for about 15 years was I rolled out passkeys to our entire organization, was making it a standard across administrative accounts as a whole. And there's a lot of misconceptions around what's going on with the passkey rollout. And the reason I think there's so much, just kind of hearsay about this technology right now is because SMS and voice has been such a prominent authentication method in the MSP space. And it's not that it's going away forever and that Microsoft's not going to support it, but there is a big gotcha, right? So the gotcha is Microsoft is no longer going to foot the bill for it. Previously, you could use that method as an authentication method, and it would just send through. Microsoft was covering any type of charges. And so you can see here on the roadmap, we've got some really crucial dates that we have to keep track of. And knowing how MSPs operate, I'm sure, December 31st, maybe January 20th, we'll be working on maybe finishing up this SMS rollout, right? And getting all the legacy methods deprecated. Let's not do that. I'm going to try to make this video and put it together. I'm going to ramble a lot, more than likely, and I'm going to try to show you some tips, tricks, and things you can do to prepare yourself for it. Passkeys are awesome. And yes, there are flaws in every type of system, but there are some wonderful things that do come to light when you're using a passkey. Can they be used with ill intent? Of course they can. But I would venture to say with 99.9% certainty that a passkey is going to be stronger authentication and encryption any day of the week over something like SMS and voice. And whether it's device bound or whether it's synced passkeys. And if you want to know more about it, right, there are so many good resources. I come back to Threatscape, right? Rue Campbell, great guy, right? He is crushing it with all the videos he's putting out right now. He's really working hard to demystify, questions, concerns, and things that people are asking. Highly recommend going and checking those out because they're great resources for people who are still uncertain about what it is and what they need to be doing. I'm going to do my own little spin on it though, and I'm going to try to help some people with some other questions that potentially they're having, right? Let's just look at what's coming up. We're mid through August. I mean, we're about to be in September 1st, right? So passkey registration nudges begin. And Rue did a recent video on this, and I want to reemphasize and push this out that, one of our very own, Roy Klooster, he's an automation and a graph MVP. It was actually one of the first that I'm aware of that pointed out this setting. And I know because the man lives in graph. I talk to him daily. And he pointed out that the Graph API exposed this setting, right? Opt-out settings, passkey dynamic migration. And Rue did a great video on how we can turn that off. We've got some really cool stuff coming. So if you're an Enforcer customer, stay on the lookout for some cool things that we're about to drop. I'll probably put another video out specifically for some Enforcer related content around this. But the idea here is that regardless of where you are or what you're doing today, this is a stopgap measure, and I want to make sure that we understand it's just a stopgap measure for this, meaning that if you don't want your customers that are still using SMS and voice to see the passkey nudge, then you can disable that setting flag through Graph. But I would say you're just delaying the inevitable, and I would say it's better that you start looking now at what you need to do to move on past that so that you're ready for these dates that are inevitably coming. And that's what I really want this video to be about, is more how do we get past this? So instead of turning this setting off, which you can do, right? I'm going to go through some additional steps so that we can get ready for this February 1st date. And one of the things I want to point out outside of Roy's awesome article, which he does a great job of, and I think you should all go look at it, is this article from Jan. Jan Bakker. This is probably the best article as far as maintaining and keeping up to date with what's happening. This is one of my favorite articles. I have it bookmarked. I go to it all the time. He's constantly updating it with anything new that we're learning. So he's got tons of references from Microsoft. He's also got he's updated it here recently. He's got the full timeline. He's got some helpful information. He updated it with the new passkey dynamic migration setting. But yeah, anything that's coming out, he's posting it right here, and we will continue to kind of look at this as things evolve. I'm probably going to make some more videos around it just because I really like passkeys. But the idea is very simple. What is it that we need to do to get ready for this change? And one of those things is we need to understand who's still using SMS and voice. So there's two ways that I would go and do this. One is Daniel Bradley. Daniel Bradley has an amazing report from ourcloudnetwork.com. It's called the Intra-Authentication Method Report. Now, this is cool. What you can see here is a very nice, CSV style HTML report that you can export and do what you need with it. But the idea here is you can sort based on weak methods. So you can see everyone who's got voice or SMS and exactly what's going on here. You can also see, our user, or you can see who just has strong methods, right? So I could just take a look at, my accounts that are using things like phishing resistant passkeys and things of that nature, both device bound and synced passkeys. So the weak method only portion of the report is a great way to do this. Now, there's an even cooler way to do this, and I'm not going to take credit for figuring this out. I wish I could, because it was actually genius how this happened. But Nathan McNulty did an awesome video recently talking about a very cool way to use authentication strengths to find who's using SMS and voice. And I was in the middle of getting ready for a session on Azure and identity security and how Azure plays such a critical role. And I kind of put together a little demo by accident on the idea of using Azure to find everyone who's using SMS. And I like this, and I will tell you, this is a surefire way to figure it out. And so what I mean by that, as you can see right here, I've got a CA Tech demo SMS retirement policy. This policy, because I have Azure set up and it has located exactly, who is using SMS. And the way I'm doing that is this way. Let's go ahead and duplicate this tab and I'll show you how I've got this set up. So what's happening is I'm actually, unlike what I typically look for with conditional access, and I look for failures so that I know who's going to be negatively impacted by a policy, I'm going to do the exact opposite. So I have created this SMS deprecation authentication strength. And what I'm looking for is password SMS and password voice. I then created a policy which is using that. So you can see here my SMS retirement policy. And what it's doing, it's in report only. So I'm just getting the metrics. And the reason that I'm able to see everything in that beautiful, workbook kind of methodology is because I'm sending all my intro sign-in and audit logs to Azure into a log analytics workspace. And so what it ends up looking like is something like this. So I'm able to actually drill down to the exact policy, and I can see here, user action required, not applied, success. So instead of what I typically look for, which is failures, with this policy, I'm looking for success. Anyone that has successfully authenticated against it is still using SMS or voice as an authentication method. It's actually really cool. It's helped me a lot. Now, one of the cool things about this is you can see I have some users. So I'm not going to pretend like you can just turn SMS and voice off. Now, what I am going to pretend is that you need to be working towards minimizing who has it. One of the things that I have over at conditionalaccess.tech, which is my blog where I blog a lot about all things Entra and everything else, is I have a recent groups master deep dive on the fact that I'm a little, some would say, borderline obsessed with groups. And the idea here is very simple. Groups are the shield. They are the shield to identities. You should use groups for everything. So one of the things that I've done is over in my GitHub, I've created a full breakdown on how I leverage groups, why the things that I look for in groups, the way I break down groups by governance, security groups based on the different principles and things that I would need. And then I've created scripts for all of it. So there's scripts here that you can dig into. You can take the scripts. If you drop into the groups category, there's going to be scripts for all of this. And what you can do is you'll see all the naming conventions, exactly how I use them. But the one that you're going to be looking for here is the authentication methods. Reason being is two things. You're going to need your auth SMS group to start putting your SMS. I put SMS and voice in the same thing. And you're going to need to start making sure passkeys are enabled, meaning FIDO2 has been enabled. We'll talk a little more about that. But the idea is very simple. What you're going to want to do is once you've started to find, whether it's through Daniel Bradley's report or some of the built-in insights, or you're just like, hey, I'm going to do this really cool little trick and I'm going to make a conditional access policy over the next month, put it in report only and find everyone using SMS and voice. Great way to do it, right? Put everyone into a group. And so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to come down to authentication methods. Now, you're going to see that I've already turned SMS and voice off because I don't actually want it being used. It is a weak method, but you will see that I did the same exact thing. I had the group right there. I had all the users in it. These users clearly have authenticated with it, thus the log showed it. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to, if you do need this enabled, you're going to keep this enabled for a while, and you're going to go ahead and you're going to put all your users in here. And over the next month, right, next month or 2 months, you're going to start taking users out as they register for new methods. And you're going to dwindle this group down until there's basically no one available. Now, where are you going to put people in the meantime? Well, you need to enable FIDO2. So you need to get your passkeys options enabled. The point of this video is not to go through the pros and cons to device-bound versus sync passkeys. If you want that, Bruce got you covered, right? Device-bound versus syncable passkeys. Go review that. It's an awesome video. But the idea here is very simple. For normal users, I am okay and confident with them being in a sync passkey, especially for my tenant. I've got lots of demo users. I want a sync passkey. It just makes life a little easier. But administrative accounts break glass, and by default, they should be device bound. It is more secure. That is not an opinion. That is a fact. Device bound is more secure. There are attestations and things that are enabled that make it more secure by default. So by default and for admin roles, I want device bound enabled. Now, for users who don't have administrative privileges, totally okay with them going in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to enable this for a user, and I'm going to put them in this group. Let's go total groups, and demos are not my strong suit, but we're going to try here. So we're going to go AUG, yep, and then we are going to go passkey. Let's just do passkey. So we are going to put, I've got some users already in here. We are going to put my man Neville Longbottoms. I've already got Snape in there, so you can see I've been doing some work here. So we're going to put Neville in the sync passkey because we're going to try to do a demo and showcase enabling this for Neville. We'll see how it works out. It's always hit or miss depending on how we do these demos. So we're going to go through the registration process for the end user and see if we can get this to kick off and showcase exactly what the process is going to look like for the end user. So apologies, but I am going to go ahead and set up an incognito window. We're going to go to portal.office.com, and we're going to try our best to actually go through this process. The demos have just been not going well. So we're going to do Neville.longbottom. And it's interesting because it's seeing an old passkey that was there originally. We're going to go through and we're going to get our handy dandy old text message, and it looks like it just came through. So I'm going to type that in and we're going to hit verify on that. And it's going to jumpstart the registration campaign process, and hopefully everything goes well and we'll complete the process. But what it's doing is it's shooting me off into the sync passkey methodology. Yep, there we go. We're going to set up a passkey. Beautiful. That's exactly what I want to see. Now we're going to store this in our Apple Password Manager. We've got our secure enclave, so we're going to go ahead and do our fingerprint setup. And just like that, it's going to register the passkey. And we're just going to give it a name. This is going to be iCloud keychain, so we're just going to do that. And just like that, we're going to hopefully set up our passkey. Passkey created. Now, what I'm going to do is you're pretty much done. Process is for the most part done. So we went ahead and logged in. What I will remind you, because Neville was our last user, I want to go ahead and turn off that group.